So in 2002, a young, brilliant programmer had this idea that they wanted to create a website where people can connect online, right, with their friends and family members across the globe. Decided he's going to work all night, launch the first prototype, right? Instantly, the site took off. Within the first 3 months, it had 1 million unique users. Within the first year, it was up to 115 million people on the site. Got featured in Time Magazine, Wall Street Journal. The guy was on talk shows. You guys all know who I'm talking about, right? Right? John Abrahms. Why does nobody in this room know who this guy is? This is the founder of Friendster. 2 years prior to Facebook launching, Friendster came out in the market. You can connect with people, you can like, you can share, right? Why didn't John Abrahms succeed? He was first to market. He was capitalized by the best venture capital companies in Silicon Valley. He had first mover's advantage. He had an early adoption. John Abrahms is a classic business story that is so applicable to us today, a classic failure. He was an entrepreneur who was really good at his job, but wasn't good at running a business, right? And today, and really the inspiration behind my talk, because we took the surveys, asked you guys what you wanted to hear, and I know every single person in this room is enthusiastic, excited about learning, connecting with some of the top agents across the country. You're going to leave with pages of notes. My simple question is, when are you going to do it? When are you going to execute? Right? Let's be real. Let's be real. If you look at your schedule right now, right? Isn't that where you are right now with your clients? Right? So are you going to fire your clients to make time? Right? Are you going to work more hours? How many of you work less than 40 hours a week? Right? Nobody. Maybe Chris Summers because he does a lot of yoga, but that's it. Right? Nobody. We're all working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And you can see here what's super depressing about this, and I feel like this is such a depressing presentation, but it gets better, don't worry. It gets better. Like, the more we work, the less productive we are. Okay? So we want to innovate, we want to grow, we want to keep executing on these ideas. When are we going to make time, right? We have a lot of clients. We have a lot of obviously, we're losing a lot of time. We don't have any hours in the week. And we have demanding clients, right? You don't have to look any further than Google. If you type in "my realtor is," what's the result, right? Lazy, slow, not doing their job, not selling my house, right? Number 5 isn't "my realtor's awesome," right? It's like someone's like sleeping with my wife or something. It's like that, right? So let's just set the stage here. We have no time. We're already working ourselves to the bone, right? And we have demanding clients. That's the environment we live in, okay? So what I want to share with you today is a basic principle that we've executed at Curaytor. It's helped us grow 400% year over year. It's helped us reduce our churn by that same number. And I call it winning the day, okay? And the concept's very simple. Control the chaos in your business so you can work on your business, okay? It's not good enough just to be great at your job. You have to be great at running a business, okay? Let's start with public enemy number 1, your email, okay? The bane of many of your existence. As you can see here with this slide right now, there was 196 billion emails sent every single day. 2016, that number is projected to go up, 201 billion. The next year, 206 billion, right? So if you're just hanging on by a thread right now, don't worry, it's only going to get worse. But this isn't the problem, right? And this is the misconception around email. The volume doesn't make a difference. You're not going to feel if you get, you have to feel the effects of a couple billion more emails, right? The problem with email is that we hoard it, right? We keep it in our inbox, right? Think about this, really. You get 100, 200, 300, 500 emails in your inbox. You're hoarding them. And what do you do when you go in your email? Every time you check it, it's a constant reminder of the shit that you didn't do that you're procrastinating on, right? Let's be real. If we're going to scale, we got to be efficient, right? So what I want to talk to you today about is how to manage this. Now, yeah. I'm going to give you guys a very simple workflow, okay? Super simple. You can execute on this. As you can see here, when you get a new email that comes in, it's a very simple binary question. Can you solve this problem right now? If the answer is yes, solve the problem, archive the email, get it out of your inbox, right? Very simple. Do not check your email for fun. Check it to do something with it. If you can't solve the problem, okay, then at that point, reply to the client, try to set the expectations, put it into a to-do list, and I don't care what to-do list app you use. I really don't. Put it into a centralized to-do list that your team likes and actually uses, right? Assign it to a person, put a due date on it, and then archive it, right? That's it. Trust the process, okay? Trust the process. And recently, I'll tell you just a quick story on this. Krista, who couldn't be here today. Many of you know Krista. You've interacted with her. Krista's I'm the heart and soul. We're all going to pack it up and go home if she quits because she is really the core of our business. And recently had a client reach out and say, Jimmy, I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed. I'm trying to get this thing done, and it's been taking too long, and I'm not hearing back from Krista. And this, especially for earlier clients who know Krista so well, this is absolutely not like her. So I said, Krista, let's just get on a phone call. Let's just sit down. Let's figure out what's going on, right? So we do a GoToWebinar screen share. She pulls up her email. She's got 1,300 emails. Immediately, I'm jumping into coach mode, right? Hey, you need to be doing this, 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 this. And I can see the resistance, right? I can hear it in her voice, right? And the sense I'm getting, which I think is sense amongst the room here, is that I'm too busy to get organized, right? We all feel that. I'm too busy. I got too much stuff going on to slow down and follow a workflow like this. So 15 minutes go by. I'm not making any progress. And then I decide to ask her a very simple question. Krista, you got 1,300 emails in your inbox right now. How do you prioritize what to do next? And her answer was whoever's screaming the loudest, right? So we have to understand that our inboxes is somebody else's to-do list. We've got to work on the stuff that's actually important to our business. So tip number 1 is tame your inbox, follow the workflow, win the day, okay? Now let's keep it rolling. There's a famous story where a man came up to J.P. Morgan in the street, and he said to J.P. Morgan, "Sir, I have in my hand the secret to success, and I will gladly sell it to you for $25,000. J.P. Morgan says, "Sir, if I like it, I will pay you the $25,000. He hands the note to J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan opens up the note, reads it, puts it in his pocket, pulls out his checkbook, and writes a check for $25,000. What did the note say? It read, "The guaranteed formula for success, right? Every morning, write a list of things to do, and then do them." Right? Simple. I don't need to tell you guys what your priorities are. You know what they are. So the question is, why aren't you doing them? Why at the end of the day, when you look at your to-do list, nothing's checked off, right? And now what happens is we get caught in this trap, which I call sort of the myth of multitasking, right? This is what you guys look like when you multitask.
Did that come out okay?
That's the best one of the 300 pictures I've taken of myself today.
Every girl in the picture is locked into her phone.
Oh, Lord.
Every single one is dialed in. Welcome to parenting in 2015. They're all just completely transfixed.
That's us multitasking, right? Let's be real. The browser windows, right? The phone that's going off constantly. We're being interrupted every 6 minutes, right? The reason we can't do our to-do list is because we are constantly under fire, okay? Now, some of you might be saying, well, Jimmy, I'm channeling my inner Kendall here. Jimmy, the notifications are important. They're leads, right? They're really not. Like 5%, 10% maybe leads. 5% maybe you're important, right? You're getting notified for Facebook, for Twitter, for email, for all the apps. You have 40 apps on your phone on average, right? 150 notifications per day. You got to turn all that stuff off. And if you turn all that stuff off, you create this sort of bubble around you, right? That allows you to execute on the J.P. Morgan timeless advice, write a list down, and then do it, right? And as you start to see here, and I'm hopefully starting to kind of build these concepts, my goal is very simple. I want everyone in this room to be able to execute on all the brilliant Facebook, email, content strategies you hear today. In order to do that, we've got to get down to the trenches, where I'm at, where you're at, right? We've got to figure out how we can become more efficient, okay? Tame your inbox, control the notifications. As you can see here, filter the noise, do your priorities, #win the day. Now, this one's going to be a quick pro tip for you. I want everyone to actually do me a favor. Pull out your phone, pull out your calendar app for me, if you could. Okay? And I want you to swipe left to November. Look at all that free time. Right? That's what our calendars look like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks in advance. What happens to all that free time? Right? It gets eaten up. One of the things we have to think about here, and this is a great piece of advice I got from someone much smarter than I am. He said, if you want to actually prioritize your day, you've got to put the you back in your calendar. You've got to actually put yourself in your calendar. Those like little slots between appointments, they get filled up with more appointments, right? So for me, one of the most important things you can do when it comes to scheduling is to actually organize your day around the things that are important to your business, not just doing the job, right? So now we're rolling. We get our inbox under control. We're starting to actually complete our to-do list. We're clearing out the notifications, all the distractions. We're putting ourselves back into the calendar, right? We're building. Now, as that happens, the business is growing, right? Everything's going great. And then we decide we want to hire a team. Or maybe we do have a team, right? And we want to keep growing. This is the manager's dilemma. This is something I've talked to many of you about personally. When you hire somebody on your team, all is good, right? The thought process is what? I'm going to have them do all the things I don't have time to do, right? That's the idea. That's management in 2015 in real estate. But what ends up happening? The first time they run into an issue, what do you say to yourselves, right? I'm just going to do it myself. I'm not going to slow down. I just get this thing done. And then you start working harder, although you have now more people on your team and you're making less money, right? It's the truth, right? This is not management, guys. This is not leadership. I love this Twitter handle, by the way. Dan Corkle shared with me. You guys got to follow. I get a good laugh at it. This is not leadership, right? The word I want to eliminate from the dictionary is delegation. Delegation is bullshit. It is. Empowerment needs to be the word, right? Empowerment is the goal. So how do you know if you're a bad manager, right? What are the telltale signs? Because your team ain't going to tell you. Trust me, I ask my team. They don't tell me. How do you know if you're a bad manager? Let me give you some telltale signs. If you send an email like this, the see below email, you are a bad manager, okay? What this says, okay, in translation, because I've been on the other side of the see below email too many times, it's, hey, I'm too important and too lazy to tell you what to do, so I want you in reverse order to read 20 emails and then do that thing. And then I'm going to follow up and figure out why it isn't done. The see below email is the worst thing ever created. So please, if you're doing it, stop it. You're killing your team, okay? The ASAP email. Oh my God, please, right? Do this now, all caps. This is something Chris does all the time, by the way. He needs to be watching this. ASAP email, right? Stop sending it. What you're saying to your team is, like, I am like just totally overreacting to everything. You need to do this right now. I don't care what your other priorities are. The other things I told you were important 10 minutes ago. Do this now, right? And this is the thing I think is so important to this idea. You can have a great person on your team, and you can have a bad process, and you get the wrong results, right? It's the people, the process, which ends up getting the great results, okay? The last one for you, the overreaction email, right? This one's the toughest one, I'll be real, right? You're starting to empower your team. You're starting to give them a little more responsibility working with your clients, right? And this one's really hard. You guys know me, especially for our early clients who've been with us for a while. I was very much hands-on, and I can't be at this point right now as much as I'd like to. So I have to rely on the team that we have here at Curaytor. And they do a wonderful job. And one of the things that is so frustrating as a manager, and you guys know this, the managers in the room and the people who lead their teams, if you have a bad customer experience because of your team, right, the immediate reaction is you go off the handle, right? And you treat them like a child. That's what you're doing. You're treating them like a child. And when you treat someone like a child, they act like a child. And I'm much more interested in building a company of adults, okay? So the overreaction email's got to go. Now, here's a pro tip for you, okay? Now that you're starting to slow down a little bit, Jason Fried calls it give it 5 minutes. Slow down a little bit, right? And say, okay, let's just trust the process. Let's trust the process, okay? Now we have to think about how can we remove the roadblocks from our team, right? Because that's really the job of the leader, is to get the right people on the bus, put them in the right seat, and just get out of their way, right? Good to great for those people who like that book. So what I see with people asking when they're in either a Facebook group or a email thread, and I'm in like, Lisa Archer's got me in 20 of her Facebook groups, and I see her interacting with her team all the time. One thing I think is important here, and Lisa does a great job, so this is not a dig on Lisa, but one thing I want to see people doing here is we've got to be asking better questions, right? Let me give you just a quick example. If you drive to any mall, right, in the country, you park, you walk over to the retail store, you walk into the store, you're greeted by a sales rep, the first thing they say to you is, how can I help you today? What's your reaction 99% of the time? I'm just looking, right? So when you ask your team, how you doing today? What's the response, right? Fine. Good but busy, right? If you ask dumb questions, you get dumb answers. And I don't mean dumb like stupid, I mean like dumb like simple. It doesn't give you any insight. There's nothing you can do with that. So what you want to be thinking about here, I don't care if your team is vendors that you're partnering with, outsourcing it, insourcing, it doesn't make a difference to me. Ask smarter questions. Here's a quick example of this, right? Share a recent success story with me. And if they don't have one, why? Right? What's the issue? Or, even better, and this is a great one to good but busy, I ask this all the time, who's keeping you up at night? Right? How's everything going? It's going great. Who's keeping you up at night? Oh my God, I got to tell you about this client, right? That's the reaction. And you can start to remove these roadblocks from your team. So great leaders lead, and great organizations have great leaders. Be a better leader, empower your team, and win the day. All right? So now we're starting to build, right? We get our inbox under control. We're actually managing our to-dos. We're filtering out all the noise around us. We're actually empowering our team. We're being a great leader. Now we run into the crux of the issue. In many cases, I'm going to tread lightly here, managing customers, right?
Thank you for calling. My name is Mark. How are you doing today? I am absolutely, I am your worst nightmare. I am calling extension 3575 over and over and over and over again to reach Michelle, who said to call her there. She wants to talk to me. She's been dealing with my situation for 2 days now, and I've been on the phone for 3 hours trying to reach her, and every time I call that number, I get your department, and none of you know what the talking about. What kind of a situation is this? Yeah, I'm so sorry about that, sir. Could I get the phone number in your account? What?
Listen, you guys know this. I know this, right? You could have the best process, the best people, but customers can ruin your day in a heartbeat, right? You could be on cloud 9. You're about to make your next sales call, right? You just closed the last one, and sure enough, you get this email, right, from your client. This is never a good email, for the record, okay? So fundamentally, again, I keep saying this over and over again, my goal is to help you clear the roadblocks, establish some efficiencies in your business so you can actually execute on the ideas from all the smart people who are going to be here today, all the smart people who showed up, right? We have to offload the baggage, right? And we all know who the customers are that keep us up at night, right? As soon as I said it, you immediately thought of that person or those persons, right? So how do you do it, right? What's the practical takeaway here? I'm going to share a script with you. And it's actually not pulled up here, so we'll pull our first audible. I call it the no update email. It's a very simple script, okay? All you say, the first thing you do in the morning when you wake up, you think, okay, who are the people who are keeping me up at night? And all you have to say is, hey, Steve, I wanted to reach out and let you know that we're still waiting on X. I'll keep you posted with any updates. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Right? Checkmate. What are they going to say? There's nothing you can come back with that's going to fly in your face, right? You just kept them up to date. See, what I've realized the hard way is that customers can tolerate a lot, right? They can. They can tolerate people screwing up. They can tolerate things sort of going awry. We once deleted a client's website. Sorry, Dean, that actually happened, right? But if you can communicate, right, you can diffuse any situation. So here's the thing I want to leave you with this, is that if you can actually get these things out of the way early, get out of the way often, right, it will free up time for you to do the things that you need to do to continue to grow your business. Thank you guys so much.